Mr. Speaker, we have heard a lot about wokeness here today, but I want to focus on the woke democratic ideas that Republicans have blocked in this record-breaking closed Congress. I mean, ideas like protecting IVF, fighting fentanyl trafficking, and making sure lactose-intolerant students have something nutritious to drink at lunch. Wow. I mean, that those ideas are woke is crazy. 106 closed rules is a big number, a record-breaking number, but much more important is what that number represents. These ideas and all the other blocked amendments I highlighted would have helped everyday Americans. Is that woke? Is it woke to try and keep kids from getting asthma, to provide job training to veterans, to provide cancer screenings to firefighters? Is that woke? I don't know what my Republican colleagues are afraid of. Maybe they're afraid to vote no. Maybe they're afraid to vote yes. But this is Congress, Mr. Speaker. We're here to take hard votes. And this record-breaking number of closed rules is a disservice to the people the Republicans represent. And Mr. Speaker, while Republicans want to talk about being woke, I wish instead they'd wake the hell up and do the people's business. For example, I don't know, maybe pass a bill to prevent a government shutdown. You know, what we are doing today is merely a political exercise. Their obsession with trying to inject politics and culture wars into everything is getting really old. Almost old as the presidential nominee.
For years, ICE has warned that sanctuary cities create a public safety threat, and they're one of the biggest impediments to public safety efforts. However, under the Biden and Harris administration, the crisis at the southern border has only worsened the consequences of sanctuary policies and made enforcing current immigration laws even more difficult. So H.R. 5717, despite mischaracterizations from my friends on the other side of the aisle, creates an incentive for local jurisdictions to cooperate with federal immigration officials by prohibiting federal funds to be used to provide sanctuary for illegal aliens from going to sanctuary jurisdictions. Under current law, it creates a perverse incentive for sanctuary cities to willingly flout the law. 5717 holds sanctuary cities accountable for exacerbating the Biden-Harris border crisis and flouting federal immigration law by prohibiting the use of taxpayer dollars to fund housing, health care costs, and other benefits for illegal immigrants in such municipalities. Taxpayers who are at risk due to the border crisis should not be funding local governments not interested in upholding the rule of law. No bailout for sanctuary cities corrects this perverse incentives and ensures that taxpayers are not on the hook for this lawlessness.
Mr. Speaker, you gotta love when Republicans try to talk tough about immigration reform. I just want to remind my colleagues that one of the most conservative senators in the United States, senator from Oklahoma, wrote a comprehensive immigration reform bill that has some very tough provisions in it, and their standard bearer, the man who I cannot name on the floor for fear that my words will be taken down, told Republicans to not allow it to come to the floor for a debate or a vote. They would rather have a campaign issue than solving a problem. I mean, let that sink in. Let that sink in. I also would like to request unanimous consent to enter into the record an article from the National Institute of Justice entitled Undocumented Immigrant Offending Rate Lower Than U.S.-Born Citizen Rate.
Without objection.
You know, all day long, Republicans spout hateful rhetoric about undocumented immigration and crime because they want us to be scared and they want to divide us. But their claims are simply not rooted in truth. In fact, undocumented immigrants are less likely, not more, than U.S.-born citizens to commit crimes, including violent crime. And I also would like to request unanimous consent to insert into the record an article by the Cato Institute entitled Sanctuary Jurisdictions of Florida Do Not Have High Crime Rates. Mr. Speaker, there is no evidence, none, either in Florida or in the rest of the country, that sanctuary cities result in more crime. There's none, zero. But that won't matter to Republicans because they are unmoved by the facts. And Mr. Speaker, earlier I listed some examples of ideas that Republicans blocked from even being considered on the floor. Here are a few more. I just want people to appreciate this. An amendment that would protect access to IVF for federal employees. They blocked it. An amendment to require a study for tribal consultations before enactment of an oil and gas bill that could affect their subsistence resources. An amendment to make critical targeted investments in small-town police departments for the recruitment, retention, mental health support, and training they need to protect themselves and their communities. They blocked that too. And an amendment to ensure continued access to emergency care for pregnant service women at military treatment facilities. Look, maybe Republicans don't believe in IVF or any of these other ideas, but they can just vote no. Why block these ideas from even being debated unless they're afraid they would pass? I reserve.